can do a lot of things in research and rotation, strengthen your application. And it does not mean that telerotation is an exact substitute of on-site rotations, but it is better than nothing. The second thing is who is writing the LOR, right? So if it's a senior attending or if it's a program director, that makes a difference. The third is the letterhead of the LOR. So what you have to understand is that given your profile, which programs you signal, which geographies you pick are very important.
Hi, so this is Swati from USMLE Sarthi. We have Pavan with us from USMLE Sarthi. So welcome to today's live session on current USMLE math scenario, real talks for IMGs. I'm glad to have you all here with us. Today's session is going to be very interactive and honest. Now, what you can expect today from this session. So the latest issues IMGs are facing this season. What happens if your ECFMG pathways is delayed? Can you apply with just step scores? Do you need step 3 or research to stand out? What if you don't have USC? And many more questions. So Pavan, are you ready for the session?
Yes. So I think, thank you, Swati, first of all, and apologies for any technical issues, but let's quickly dive in. So I think the main question which we hear is there is a delay in ECFMG processing and pathways. So
yes.
Let me just clarify what's going on. ECFMG is transitioning to a new platform, and that transition will happen, they are saying, around 14th of August. So all the pathway information, all the certification processes are moving to this new platform, which means the pathways are likely to open only middle of August. Generally, they would open in June. So now there is at least a 2-month delay. How this will impact? This will obviously delay the certification for a lot of you who took CK late or taking CK late. And secondly, many of you who were planning to take step 3, they will have the biggest impact, because for step 3 you need to be certified. If the certification is delayed, so let's say the certification actually happens by first or second week of September, and then you cannot take the step 3 and get the results by 24th of September. So that all is creating a 2-month delay in the entire journey for an IMG. However, it is expected that at least those of you who have taken CK, they will be certified in time for the 24th September deadline.
So what you would suggest for the older IOGs to whom we suggest go with the step 3 while you are applying? So what they should do now, because they are in the trauma right now, whether they should apply this season or they should work on their application to make it stronger to apply in the next season with step 3 score.
Okay, so the first thing is you can only control what is in your hand, right? If things like certifications are delayed, that you cannot control, so don't worry about it. The other thing is, as an older YOG, the clock is always ticking. So there is no point in waiting another year and hoping that you will apply by step 3. So my recommendation is, if you cannot do step 3 between now and say September 24th, if the results are not out, what you can do is you can still prepare number 1 for step 3. You can take step 3 in October or as soon as it is possible for you, but apply on time. In this 2 months, you should maybe do more rotations, maybe stronger research, maybe more networking and outreach, and we have classes on all of that. So the point is, you still have 2 months. You can do a lot of things in research and rotation, strengthen your application, and then once you take step 3, then you tell the programs that you've taken the step 3 and all that. So yes, it is a bit of a disadvantage, but not that much of a disadvantage that you should wait another year, especially if you are an older YOG.
Thank you. Thank you for this question. So now you have already said like pathways is getting delayed, so they will be certified later on whenever the pathway will open. So based on that, what do you suggest? What should be the last date or the week to take the step to CK score? ECFMG certification is not in the IMG's hand, but they can at least give the exams.
So I think middle of August is still okay, or early August if IMGs who are wanting to take step to CK, if they can take by say early August. So in the next week or so, even if the certification opens on say 20th August, they should still be certified within a month. So I would say first week of August if you're still thinking about when to take CK.
Okay, so thank you for that. So next question is, what if someone passed both the steps, but we have seen many students like this as well, they do not have any USC. Either they are facing the visa issues, or they are not able to travel to US, or maybe they are in the US, they are having some financial issues. So what can be the best move for them to go for the match app this season?
Okay, so it is a reality that without US clinical experience, match is very hard. That's a reality. But as we have seen over the years, including COVID and later, depending on your profile, a lot of programs are okay if you do tele rotations. You know, you cannot travel, you don't have visa. We've had several students each year who match just by tele rotations. It does not mean that tele-rotation is an exact substitute of on-site rotations, but it is better than nothing. So you can do tele-rotation where there is patient interaction. You can do tele-rotations where there are didactics. You can do tele-rotations with program directors to build network and to show them that you do have clinical skills and are ready to match. So in my opinion, if you have nothing at this point, you cannot travel, have financial issues, there are still 2 months, you can do 2 or 3 tele rotations and at least get a competitive application out. Second, research is still possible. We can still submit for publications before September 24th. Now, it will not be published before September 24th. You know, research publications take time. However, it will be submitted and at least you will have a very strong application given your constraints. So in an ideal situation, you would be doing on-site rotation, you know, full-time research at a university and all that. But, you know, situation is not ideal. So how do you make the best out of this non-ideal situation? Could be tele-rotations and remote research.
Okay, so based on that, since we have just 2 months right now, correct? So
Yes.
maybe IMG can have only one or two, or they can get more LORs, or they should apply if they do not have the time, they can apply with one or two LORs also. What you would suggest on that?
So I would certainly recommend again as close to 3 US LORs as possible, as close to it. Right now, we do have certain rotations, certain tele rotations that give 2 LORs in 1 month. So there are possibilities that you can still reach 3 LORs in 2 months. But yes, if that is not possible, at least get 2 US clinical LORs. You know, in 2 months, 2 LORs, and then probably one home country.
Thanks. So now, similar to this rotations, so some students are still have the dilemma of about the paid rotations and tele rotations. So what do you think? Are these worth it? Whether they should go for it or they should wait for it? How IMG should think about it? Because this is the biggest dilemma between the students.
Right. And I can see that, you know, a lot of times paid rotations are not what they claim to be. So, first, I think we need to take a step back and we need to see what program directors are looking for, what programs are looking for. So, first is the quality of the work that has been done in rotations, whether it is tele rotation and on site rotations. What do actually students get to do? What type of presentations they do? You know, if it's on site rotation, is there a patient interaction? So, that is one thing, you know, it is reflected in the LOR. The second thing is who is writing the LOR, right? So if it's a senior attending or if it's a program director, that makes a difference. The third is the letterhead of the LOR, you know, so is it a clinic letterhead? It's a hospital letterhead. So all these things matter. Now, then there is also a reality that if you are a graduate, getting hands on in a hospital setting tends to be very hard, right? Because you're a graduate, you have a lot of constraints. So that's why some of these paid rotations are there, and there's actually nothing wrong. I mean, we have been helping students with these rotations for the past 10 years, and it's not that all paid rotations are bad. If you are, say, in third year MBBS or second year MBBS, if you have time, you can directly apply to the universities and get that inpatient rotation. But a lot of students don't have that time or the luxury or the finances. Some of these direct rotations can be very, very expensive.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. So now let's move to the match. So many students says I applied broadly last year, still didn't match. What have been wrong? I didn't get a single interview as well. So what do you say on that?
So when students say I apply broadly, they can mean one of the two things. One is they apply to multiple specialties. That is a broad applications. IM, FM, neuro, peds, whatever, right? So that means the application is very diluted. It is not strong because it is not focused on a specialty. And obviously, if you don't have application focused on a specialty, obviously, if you don't have specialty specific LORs, you tend to be not favored highly by the program. So that is one. So we always recommend focusing on one, maybe two specialties, not more than that. Then the second is when they say I applied broadly means geographically. So what you have to understand is that given your profile, which programs you signal, which geographies you pick are very important. And that's what we try to do with our students in our classes and one-on-one meetings, based on the profile, which specialty you should apply, which geography you should apply to, which programs to signal. So all of that is very, very personalized to a student. And once we know the profile, we can guide the student better.
Okay. And what about those students who had a gap after a graduation? Does that reduce their chances to match, let's say more than 5 years, 10 years? So, how you see about these gaps and how these can be filled?
Yes, so then there are two issues. One is the student is late in applying to USMLE, so maybe a YOG of 10, but he or she has been working throughout. So there is no gap in the clinical side of things. So that is different. And the other scenario is student graduated 5 to 10 years ago, but because of family reasons, other reasons, has not been clinically active, maybe taking care of the family, maybe migrated to US, so on and so forth. So there are two distinct scenarios. So it is easier for people who have been clinically active. It's easier for them to match because then they just need to transition to the US healthcare system, and we can help with one or two rotations, one or two research, and they can be ready. Depending on the score, the specialty, we can decide. But it's the people who have had breaks in their career, not doing anything for the last 5 6 years. That is the main challenge. So for these people, the recommendation is as long as they've been doing something for the last 12 months, okay, maybe rotations, maybe research, then their profile is somewhat okay, especially in specialties like pediatrics or family medicine, who are more forgiving for breaks and for scores. And these specialties are okay if as long as you've been active for the past 12 months, and we can help you in terms of structuring your ERA CV and personal statement and then helping you. But you're right, and profile building takes time, and to overcome the gaps, it really takes a lot of time in research and rotations. Some of the students can get provisional licenses, right? And they can start working as an assistant physician or a medical assistant. So those are also some of the options for the students who have had breaks.
Thanks for this information. I think this will be helpful for the IMGs who are having the gaps. Similar to this question, let's say one IMG applied last season and maybe they doesn't have the step three scores and they have taken the step three this season, but they haven't done anything on their profile like doing the rotation, research, or anything. Or maybe they have taken the step three if needed, or they haven't taken. So is it a good step to go ahead with the match, or what they should do to improve their chances to match?
So you're right. I mean, if you have not done anything improve over the last season, I think it's very hard, right? Because there's no change in your application, or maybe you have only done step three. Even then, see, the clinical specialties want to see that you are clinically active. It's as simple as that. So what you should be doing, like I said, there are 2 months, right? You could either do rotations, be clinically active, either do rotations, or if you don't have visa issues, you don't need visa, work here. So as an assistant physician, medical assistant, all of that, and focus on also research, but don't just focus on remote research. So it's a combination of these two things. In 2 months, you can still do it, but don't just sit at home and say, I'm preparing for step three, especially for older graduate. That doesn't help.
Thanks for this information. So we have some questions we have received on our Instagram story. So let's take those questions. Is it tough for an IMG to match into psychiatry?
Yes, so psychiatry has become increasingly competitive over the last few years, especially after COVID. Okay, so it is not impossible, but it is getting very difficult. And the number of IMGs matched in psychiatry has been decreasing because American graduates have been doing well and they are focused on psychiatry. So for an IMG to match in psychiatry, I think psychiatry specific research is becoming very important, and step three is becoming very important. And psychiatry is also starting to look more towards recent graduates. So as an older graduate, it is becoming harder to match in psychiatry.
Okay, so similar for the surgery. If someone failed the step one, then they can apply for surgery,
Well, I
and
mean,
how
they
it will
can
work.
apply, but to match in surgery with a failure in step one or CK is very hard. So, what these students should do is, if they really, really want to do surgery, I think they will need 1 full year of research in the US at a program with a preceptor who's a surgeon. So, research can help you overcome some of the red flags. That is one. Of course, what you will also need to do is matching in categorical surgery is almost impossible with a step one attempt. So you will have to go through a prelim surgery year. So matching in a prelim year and then going to categorical would be your option. The third alternative is, frankly, to look at alternate specialties. If there has been an attempt and if you are open to other specialties like IM pediatrics, that could be a good option.
Okay. So let's say if we are saying surgery is difficult, so are there another specialty as well which says which are difficult if they have failed the step one? In which specialty they have the waiver?
Yeah, so failure is always going to be hard in any specialty, right? But it still depends on your year of graduation. It depends on your actual score in the CK. So if you are, say, a recent graduate and you can recover and get a 250 in CK, I think specialties like IM are still okay. But if you are an older graduate, you have an attempt in step one and your CK score is also like, let's say, 220s, then even IM would be a hard one to crack. In that case, I think nowadays pediatrics would be a very, very realistic option because it is opening up more and more for IMGs, and they are more looking into the actual clinical experience, and they sometimes can overlook the step one attempt.
Okay. Great. So we have on the current scenario two questions with us, can I submit my ECFMG certification and step scores in early October, as the deadline for application submission is September 24, right? So is it worth it to submit later on? They can submit it or they cannot submit it at all. So how it will
So
work?
legally and technically they can submit it, right? But it depends on when they do it. So let's say they do it early October, it is still reasonable to assume that they will get interviews. But if the scores and certification are submitted late October, early November, then the chances of getting interviews in the mains cycle are very less. Then, you're either looking at SOAP or you are looking at new programs that may get accreditation in November or December. But otherwise, given the competition, it's very hard to get an interview if you are completing your CK and or submitting the certification in November.
So as you said, like if they are submitting later October or November, the chances of not getting the interviews are very higher. Let's say if they are submitting the step to CKs in November, so they can get a chance to apply in SOAP.
Yes, absolutely. SOAP happens in March, and SOAP happens after the main match. And if you are in late November, December, there are two options. One, new programs. So if new programs come up, then everyone is on the same footing. Everyone is applying only in November, December because the program came up then. So you should apply to that. If not, SOAP is absolutely an option. We have had a lot of students who every year match in SOAP who could not match in the main season because they were late or their interviews did not go as well.
Okay. Thank you. It was a wonderful session with you. And the last question from you, what's your message to students who are feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, so I think at this point, it is very common to feel overwhelmed and stressed out, and things happen. But I think let us take step by step, identify what is missing in your profile. It could be rotations, it could be research, it could be something else, CK score. Focus on what you can control. So you don't control certification, don't worry about it, but you control your CK, you control the rotations you can do either tele or on site, and you still control research. So we still have time. Focus and prioritize on what is missing, and then try your best to apply on time. I think that is the key. If you apply on time, your chances of interviews are always higher.
Thanks for this complete information. I think our audience will get the help from this and it will be a helpful session for them. But the last question which came up in my mind as I used to talk to other IMGs, what and when they can come to the USMLE Sarthi to apply this season? Like they shouldn't come beyond that. You will be able to help them for the
So
application.
if they are ready in terms of which program, if they need help with program selection, if they need help with IRA, CV, PS, all of that program selection, program list, networking strategies, tips, now is the time, right? So that's we have 2 months. We can still help you. We have done a lot of classes. We have a team of physicians who will work with you one on one on Zoom on your IRA, CV, PS, all of that. Okay, so that's that. Now there are students who want to just prepare for the interview, so that's also okay. In August we will start interview preparation also. So the point is, depending on what you need, if you need rotations, yes, we can help. Research, yes, we can help. IRA, CV, PS, program selection, all of that. Now would be the time. Interview preparation after a week to 10 days. We will be starting that as well, but you can come to us now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope this session was helpful for you. And if you want to know anything else about the current match scenario, or if you want to take the profile review with us, how we can help you at the last moment, because it's already July is going to end and we just have 2 months, still we can help you. You can book a profile review with us. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Swati.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope that video provided valuable insights for your journey. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And check out our website for details on how we can guide you to a successful match.